How do I use my strategy and authority in daily decisions? I have thought, I just can't put them together. Mm. Two things to be aware of when making decisions. In the simplest terms, the most convenient definition, if you know the movie We Can Be Best Friends, human design is really all about how you're here to make decisions. It's that simple. How to approach life and how to make decisions. So, your strategy and authority are the two pieces of information that we've talked about before that are the most important. That if you know nothing else, you don't focus on anything else. Your strategy and authority are the keys to unlocking feeling less resistance in your life, waking up to who you are, owning this life like it's absolutely yours, being unapologetic for who you are, but also extending the grace, the connection, the desire for everybody else to be who they are. It's not like I'm unapologetic in who I am and I don't give a fuck about what anybody else is doing. That's not what I talk about. So if that's for you, I wish you all the best. But this is really all about how do we stand out in our differentiated energy, but allow others to do the same. So it's not like I'm different and thus I'm better or whatever the case may be. It's simply I'm different and we're all here to live a life that's truly ours, live a life that we're excited about. Okay. So, how do you use your strategy and authority in daily decisions? Well, first and foremost, you got to know what they are. The combination of those two pieces of information are the key to everything. So, for example, I'll use me. I am a sacral generator. However, when you look at someone's chart, it's not just looking at the authority and strategy together. There are nuances. So yes, I am a generator, and technically, my sacral is my decision making authority. It is my gut saying in the moment, yes, you have the energy available to do this, or no, you don't. It's truly as simple as that. My sacral is directly connected to my splenic system. So, actually, what's happening for me is that my splenic system responds first in this kind of soft whisper of, yes, you'll be safe. This will keep you safe, healthy, and secure. You have the available energy. Go ahead and do it. And what that feels like for me is the splenic download is something that I'm still trying to get used to, because it is so soft, because it only speaks once. It's easy to miss. It's easy to second guess. It's easy to be like, "Oh, the fuck that was." Um, but it's almost this like eerie download within my body. It's this kind of wave of like, okay, like it's just this knowing that I have that yes, I have the available energy. But that's completely different than, let's say, an emotional manifester. That strategy and authority are completely different. So, as a manifester, the strategy is to initiate and create impact. But the nuance of learning about what it means to be a manifester is that you don't just go initiate whatever the hell you want at any moment. It's you've got to listen to the combination of that strategy, but also in conjunction with your authority. So let's say it is an emotional manifester. That emotional manifester isn't here to initiate in the moment. If they have emotional authority, there is no truth in the now for them as to what is correct to initiate. They've got to wait over their emotional wave to determine, is this correct for me to initiate? Now, I've mentioned this several times. I clearly don't have emotional authority. I don't know what it's like to wait through a consistent wave that is innate in me. That being said, that brings us to the second part of how to use your strategy and authority on the regular to make the most correct and most effective decisions for you. It's knowing your borrowed frequency. Because what we've talked about before is your borrowed frequency can also be called your borrowed authority. What's happening is that your mind is connected to all of your open energy receptors. And what it does is collect all of the misinformation from what those open centers are. So I'll use myself as an example. I have an open G, an open ego center, an open solar plexus, and an open head center. And I'm also a simple split definition. So for me, the really loud borrowed frequency messages come from the gates that bridge my split first, and then it connects to my open center. So for me, it sounds something like, um, I've got to stay busy building skills to prove that I'm talented and charismatic so that I can figure out where the hell I'm going in this life and that I can prove that I can be loved by other people and I can answer all of the questions and inspiration that flood my mind at any given moment. And I'm not going to piss anybody off along the way because I just don't want to deal with confrontation. What that message really is all about is that it is overriding my natural innate inner authority. That message, my mind message, my borrowed frequency, also my borrowed authority, will work overtime to override my splenic gut response of, yeah, sure, I've got energy for this, or no, I don't. And because the splenic system is so quiet, and because the majority of us have never been taught to really tune into it, we can easily skip over it. Now, what I've said to others in my own experiment is that I'm getting better at recognizing the no's. Actually, I think I've always been really good at recognizing the no's. It's just that my borrowed frequency of not pissing anybody off will override that, or prove the need to prove will override that. What's trickier is to really listen to and trust the yeses, because oftentimes the yeses will go against what my logical mind believes is correct or is safe or is secure for me. But my mind can never know truly what is safe and secure for me. It's only my body. And that's what my body is signaling me when it says yes or no to something, like my energy is being pulled to something or my energy is being pulled away from something. So that's what it's really all about. And the thing that I really focus on is the borrowed frequency. Yes, strategy and authority, they're easy, quote unquote, to learn. Um, Not so easy always to implement and to experiment with, but certainly easy to learn. The harder part is the borrowed frequency. And this is what I always tell clients. The moment you hand over your inner authority, your true energy to that borrowed frequency, you hand over your potential. You block your full access to your innate potential. And that's what leads you to feel dull in some point, right? Yeah, that's what it can feel like, is like, I just feel so ho hum and dull and muted. And, think of it as like you're here to be a bright green, but you look more like a muted white with a green tint, or you feel like a muted white with a green tint. And every time that we operate through our borrowed frequency, we are literally telling our true frequency, you're not enough. When really that is what makes you the shining light, the sparkle that walks into the room is your true frequency. That is your differentiated signal of like, hey, this is who I am. And that's why it's incredibly important to understand when you're handing over your authority, you're handing over your potential. You are here to be magnetic. You are here to be unique. You are here to stand out in the room. You are here no matter what your type, strategy, authority, anything about you. You are here that when you walk into a room, whoo, people notice. And if that's what you're not feeling, if you're feeling as if you could walk into a room and everybody's just like, oh, okay, whatever, I don't know that she's there, or he's there, that's a signpost that, maybe your borrowed frequency is working a little bit too hard to homogenize you. Because that's what's happening, is that your mind thinks that who you truly are, your true frequency, isn't enough. And so it taps into all of the places that you are open, thinking, oh, if I go find that or I go be that, well, then I'll finally be enough. Actually, when you do that, you're working against what it means for you to be enough in this world. You're enough. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You simply just need a different perspective on what it means to live as you. In the simplicity of learning what your energy is and how it's designed to be used is almost criminal in terms of, yeah, it truly is simple. Is it easy? Absolutely fucking not. No. But therein lies the beauty. Therein lies the gift, right? I don't know at what point we all were convinced that to struggle is a sin. Because if that's the case, well, then I'm going straight to hell, because I've struggled a lot. But that struggle is what makes us human. It's what, when we own it, that's when we find our power. And when we get ourselves back up and we keep going, that's when we find our purpose. So, wrapping this all up, it truly is the simplicity of knowing your strategy and authority. That's how you're here to make decisions. But the flip side of the coin is, well, what's going to get in your way? How are you going to work against yourself, unbeknownst to you, unconsciously to you, because you're tapping into your borrowed frequency? And by doing that, you are diminishing your ability to reach your potential and to share your amazing, soulful, beautiful gifts with the rest of the world, simply because you're operating from the energy that you're never meant to have. It's the energy you're here to learn from. It's not the energy you're here to operate from. So, my lovely souls, if you're feeling muted, if you're feeling like, God, I am so fucking ready to be just this live out loud, bold, tenacious version of yourselves, I'd love to connect with you. That doesn't necessarily mean we work together. It simply means I just want to connect with your beautiful soul, and support you and serve you in any way that it makes sense, because my purpose here is to be of service to the things I respond to in the moment. Happy Thursday.